I meant to check. Theoretically, we have sound now. It was set on a microphone that you plug in the back, and I reset it to the mics that are in the thing, so there should be sound. It may not be good sound, but there should be some sound. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I haven't given up.
Okay, well that's always a start. So
You never fail. You don't give up.
I'm gonna show, as I said, I'm gonna download what was on GitHub, show you how to do that, how to set it up so it runs, because there are a couple of tricks to it. And then we'll talk through it, and then I'll give you some time to work. And next week will probably be mostly on the lab to finish up this assignment. We'll see how things come in, but probably it'll be. And then it's just a project, right? So the project is just doing this. Well, it's just doing the same stuff over, right? Just doing it with the fan. So, do you guys know my GitHub site? Let me pull that down. You can see the address. If you want to follow along, you can do this too. So it's just github.com/spconger. spconger, I don't know why. There are other Steve Congers out there, but there's no other SP Conger. So. One Steve Conger, I guess, is an athlete. It's not me for sure. But so once you get here, do you guys need a minute? I can go over this a couple of times if you want. I'm going to repositories, and I'm going to download. Basically, the three things that we want are the book review registration client, the registration login service, and the book review search. Do we need the search client? I don't think we need that, but we do need. Is there one below that? Yeah, the select service. So we need the two services, and then the registration client. So I'm just going to download them. So I'll click on it, and then I'm just going to download the zip. And I'm just looking, make sure it downloaded. Yeah, so it downloaded. This is the, that's a good question. Book review registration client. I did that one first. It doesn't matter what order you do them in.
Just following 3 of them, right?
There'll be 3 of them, yeah. So I'm going to do the registration login service. And again, I'm just going to click to open it and then do download zip. There are other ways to do this. You could branch these and you could clone them. I'm just going to download the zips though. So that one should be down. And then I'm going to go back. And the third one is the search, the select service. I wish I had named these better. That's a regret I have over the years. I just am terrible at naming things. All right, so I'll go back and show you which ones I downloaded. So I did the book review registration client, registration login service, and then the book review select service. We don't need the search client. It's kind of incorporated into this one. So, and these are all the same ones. This is literally the code that is in that big long PDF. I don't know if you guys have read. Okay. So there's so you got the registration client, the login service, and the select service.
Release last services.
Book review select service.
How about the search client? Search client.
I don't need it.
I don't need that one.
Okay. Not for what I want to show you.
Uh,
So I just downloaded the zip on each of these. Where they go, are you ready? They're basically all in the downloads, right? And we've got, they all say master, book review client master, book review select service master, and registration login master. Some of these have numbers on them because I've downloaded them before. So these are zipped. So I am going to extract all of them. So I'm going to just do extract all. The only thing I'm going to do that's different is I'm going to change downloads to desktop. So it'll basically extract to the desktop. Okay. And I'm going to do the same with the service master. I'm just going to right click, extract all, change downloads to desktop. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same. That's desktop. I want to go back down to downloads. So the registration login service master, I'm also going to extract all and just change the downloads to desktop. It won't run very well from the download folder. I mean, you could try to extract it there and run it from there, but it tends to not like the download folder. So I think I've done it all. Let me look. So I have 3 folders here. Over on the side here. And I'm going to start Visual Studio. So you guys still with me? Do you need a minute? If you're behind, I can give you a minute.
1 more minute.
1 more minute? All right. So what I'm going to do, I mean, if you want to go ahead of me, is I'm just going to open all 3 of them, right? So there'll be 3 instances of Visual Studio now. One of the things I will show you, I'm going to try to set up IIS, and we'll do a real simple service. It won't be part of an assignment, but just to show you how to set it up in IIS. Not today, though. I need a copy of this. Maybe I can make a copy of this first, because I don't want to do it on this copy, because then I can't undo it to show you. So there is also a PDF in the files about how to set up IIS to run this stuff. Are we ready? I hear nothing like enthusiasm or, yeah.
You're
not hearing a no.
So I'm going to just open website, and I'm going to go to the desktop. It really doesn't matter which one you open first, but you should open it up to make sure. Why is there a folder? There's 2 of these in here. That's weird. I'm going to go to the inner one, and let's see if that's the right one.
You open just the folder, or
I opened the folder, but I went to the inner folder. I don't know if you'll have that
there's no
same.
file in there that you click on, it's just the folder.
Yeah, I'm just opening the folder. So I'm not doing open project, I'm doing open open websites.
It's the app code folder?
No, the one above that.
Oh,
Open website, right?
Yeah, now this is just telling you that I wrote this in 2015, Visual Studio 2015. We're using 2013 and saying, do you want to down convert it? And yes, otherwise it won't run. That's what that dialog box is saying. And this is a good sign. That means that I got the right files. And if you need to, we can close all these and reopen them again in a moment. As I said, those warning dialog boxes are annoying, but they are useful to me because they let me know that things are going. So you see that we have the app code, it has the book review model, and it has the services, the login services.
Why did you open 3 of them in one time?
Well, we're opening them one at a time.
All over.
All right, so we'll come back to these. To open another one, right, so what you do is you go and right-click on the icon down here, do Visual Studio. Now you could, if they're in the list here, but I don't want to open them from, these are all things that I've opened before. I don't want to open the ones that are in my regular directory because I'm doing this new version, the version that was online. So I'm just going to open Visual Studio. And you can do that again by just clicking Visual Studio here. And it's important that you open it in a new version of Visual Studio. If you open all three, it is possible to open all of them into one copy of Visual Studio, but you cannot run multiple services at the same time. So the only way to do that is to have either to put it in IIS, which is what you're supposed to do, or to run a separate copy of Visual Studio for each service. So I'm going to do, again, File, Open, Website. So we did the registration service one, so let's go to, now in all of these, for some, usually there's an inner folder, and you want the inner one. Notice how there's book review, select service master, and then book review. There's usually an inner folder. I don't know why. This is actually not just GitHub. It seems to be a Windows zip thing. It creates a zip folder, and when you put it out, it creates a new folder that sort of encompasses the other folder with the same name. I don't know why it does that. There's probably ways to avoid it. But make sure you get the inner folder because otherwise things won't work. And then again, the done version, going back a version. The fact that I get the security warnings is a good sign. And when you look in the solution folder, I've had people in the past, particularly though more in the ITC110, if you open a website like this, using open website and you just go to the folder, none of your files are going to show up in your edit window. The program, normally you go to the program icon and open it if you do it that way. And you can do that. I usually don't when I'm moving things around because there's a lot of path information in there that may be wrong at this point. If you open that, what part of what's in that is your last state. So it'll open up the windows that were open when you quit. But this way it doesn't. So a lot of people have thought that they failed to open it because none of the files are open in the editor. But they're there in the Solution Explorer.
So it's security warning dialog box.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it's just
no, it's freezing.
it's free. There's
Oh, it's freezing?
yeah, there's no controls in it. That's, I don't know why it would freeze. Like only to the point where it started to get
It could be another issue. Opening one project?
Oh,
Two now.
second.
But I'm not sure why it's freezing on that. I have seen that happen before.
And that's gonna.
You've got it on your laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was freezing on my laptop too.
Is it?
Mark, if you want to change right here.
There we go. It'd be easier for me to check.
Well,
I know, I'll just try to freeze it. You already.
Yeah.
Mine seemed to freeze when I opened the inner folder, but not the outer.
I can show you.
But if you do the outer folder, it may not work.
Yeah.
Because if you open the outer folder, you won't have access to the services.
Yeah,
Did yours is still frozen?
it will freeze every time. I can open I think one of the other two. I haven't tried the third one, but on
Only use Visual Studio for like 12 years, but that's the thing I know Visual Studio.
on the last the registration login service.
Now, did you open, when you opened it, did you open the extracted file or the zipped file?
That's the
Extracted.
file.
So you should. So that's not the problem. I have no good idea right now.
But I can't open Booker's for registration.
It opened the first one. It should open the second one
Let me try
too.
this.
You might, I mean, I would close out that copy and try again. I don't know why.
It's actually 3
You
times.
tried it
have
3
to-
times?
I have to task it.
That's weird.
I'll try a second one.
Yeah. I'm gonna open one more. I have seen that freeze before and I have no idea what causes that. I don't know if it's Visual Studio freezing or if it's a laptop freezing.
I'm in the studio, but I'm on 2015 and it's still doing it. And the second one is
How much RAM do you have on your laptop?
8 gig.
That should be plenty.
It's doing it on the second one. The only one I can open is the book with the registration file. The other two freeze. I'm gonna try to read out.
So I'm opening the third one. Okay. If it doesn't work, I mean, this could be tried elsewhere or later. This is sort of I just wanted to walk through code that I know works, especially after last time coming into that Dutch inn. Although, so
I'm gonna try to re-download them and see.
yeah, you might try to re-download them. Maybe they didn't download properly. Extract them again. Maybe extract them to somewhere else. I don't know. So there are a couple of things about this that won't work, but let's go back to our services. So this is the login registration service. So this one has a few more things than yours does. So it has the reviewer login, the reviewer registration. That's where we were trying to go last time, right? Actually, not the reviewer login and the reviewer registration. We were doing add review and add book and add author. If I go to the service itself, add author is pretty simple. I just pass in the author name because there's nothing else really in that class except the name. And we did that. I think that worked okay. The add book, this is the part where we're having trouble. This was not writing to the author book table, the linking table. It was writing to the book table, but it wasn't writing to the author book table. So we could write the author and we could write the book, but we weren't joining them together. But this does work. Author equals DB authors. So author is the built-in class. Author, I mean, that we got from using the EDMX, right? The ADO entities. DB authors is DB is our ADO thing. First or default, X, which is just a variable, such that X, the author name, equals A, which is up here in the loop because it's an array of strings. The author name is an array of strings in the author class. And we're adding the author to which is just the instance of the book class. And then that actually works. Although I'm not sure that this is the trouble with this is it's very hard to test. That's what I've done is I've downloaded it from the GitHub. So I downloaded 3 things from GitHub. I downloaded the book review registration client. I downloaded the registration login service, and I downloaded the book review select service. Any luck?
And I have a question. I might all open, but why the database doesn't connect to the server?
What?
It looks like the problem is it.
Oh, yeah, we might have a problem with the server. I can fix that. In fact, I'm sure we do, even though it's running here. Like if I try to add an author, I'll get an error. So let's do author, I don't know, just to show you the error. I know hundreds of thousands of authors. Why can't I think of one right off the top of my head? Vonnegut. I'm not sure. That's not how you spell Vonnegut. Anybody know how you spell? It was E-T?
Oh, UT.
UT, that's what I thought. Anyway, when I try to invoke that, it will fail. And it should fail. Are we getting the error? Is it just going to time out? There, finally, it took it a long time to fail. And the failure is that it can't talk to the server. Anybody know why that is? As I told you, there's lots of things we have to change. This is one of the things we'll have to change in both services. I'm going to hit the Solution Explorer and link it. So it's important that you remember we're doing SQL Express. So I just went into the web config file. And in the web config file, you'll see an area connection strings, right? So when we go in the connection strings, go far enough, it says that the data source is localhost. We need to change that to /SQL Express. So this is in the web config file. And it's in the section called connection strings, right? So it gives a name for the connection string. It has a long connection string. What you want to do is search through that connection string until you find data source. And that data source is localhost. It needs to be changed to SQL Express. When I do this at home, I have a full standing instance of SQL Server. So I'm not using SQL Express. That's one of the minor things. I should have changed that before I uploaded it, probably. So it's in the web config file. Oh, so I did the search. Actually, I didn't do the search client. I did the select service and then go up above. I did the registration client and the login service.
And save it.
Yes, might as well save it. And then do save. And then if we go to the service and run again, now it's restoring my NuGet package. I don't need to do that right now. Okay. So now I should be able to like add an author. So I'll just do Vonnegut, maybe give it a capital V, and it should return. It says null, which is possible. Did it add Vonnegut? I'm going to do a data connection over here. Actually, I don't even have to do that. Do I want to do that? I guess. Add connection. This is just to see things. So I'm adding a connection to book review so that I can do some quick queries on it, just to see if it wrote the author. I'm going to go to right click on that and do new query. You don't have to do any of this, but I just want to see if it wrote the author. Select star from author. I'm going to execute that, go to the bottom, and it wrote Vonnegut. Didn't give me any feedback, but it wrote Vonnegut. So it's writing the author now. But that's showing that we're connected. That's mainly what I wanted to show. So let's see if we add a book, if we can do that. So we were going to add a book. Now I don't think I can add an author here or a category. That's the problem when we test these. Because they're arrays, you notice that they're string arrays. It won't let me actually add these right now. It makes it hard to test. But I'll show you how the client would test them here. You could hard code those in. We did that before, right? When we were trying to debug what was going on. So if I go back to the service,
I have an error on my web config.
so did you type in that SQL Express?
Yes, I did. They say the error to use the section with just the allow definition machine to apply application.
So it needed to put it in connection strings. Let me see. And it needs to be in the right spot.
Yeah.
Where it says data source.
I
Let's see.
the error. Okay. I'll show you what I did. Just back.
Yeah, that looks all right.
And also
Let's stop it. Let's stop. Let's go to the service. Did you say no to the,
no, say no to nothing.
There should have been a dialog box that said you need to step back. Mine says framework 4.5.
I had 4.5 net.
Yeah, mine says 4.5.
4.5. And update.
I'm not sure.
And
I'll try to solve all these problems when we. Did you? Good. What did you do? Just re-downloaded it?
I downloaded it, but I extracted it and put it in my documents, or documents my website,
Oh,
and then
okay.
opened the outer folder, not the inner folder, and it gave me.
But it gave you all the files. Does it run?
No change the target framework.
I don't know if I would change the target framework. It should have changed it for you.
I changed it and it doesn't work.
So this is the registration holding service that wasn't working.
Okay, but it runs now?
It's running now.
Okay, good. Maybe do the outer folder for those of you that failed.
Oh, outer folder.
She says it's working, so. All right, all right. Let's go back. What this should do is write an author not only to the author table and the book table, but also to the author book table, right? So I shouldn't actually write it to the book, but let's do, I'm just going to real quickly, and this is just for test. So I might actually do like test. I'm going to give the B dot authors. Now we got new book. B dot authors dot add. And who do we want to add now? Okay. Okay.
Actually, you do that outer folder. Oh, like the top. Yeah.
I'm going to do B dot categories dot add. I need to know what the categories are. So let's just do fiction. So what these are doing is these are just for test purposes.
Yeah.
So when I run this and I try to add a book, I'm going to give it a title. Gravity's Rainbow. I'm going to leave out the, it might work with the apostrophe, but I'm not sure. All right, I'm going to invoke that. I'm going to do OK. Still returning null, but I think that's because I said it was void, but it didn't throw an error. So if I go back to the thing and I go to select star from book, it should have Gravity's Rainbow at the bottom. It does. Select star from author. It should have pinch on at the bottom. It does not. And it doesn't have, I wonder, maybe we didn't do it wrong. Maybe it only works if you bring it in through the form. You know, when I hard code it, it doesn't seem to work. It could be that we did it perfectly right last time, and that it only works when it comes through the form. Let's try. Anyway, let's leave it for here for right now. Let me talk through this tiny bit, and then we'll go and we'll do the other service. Well, I'll show you the client. Maybe with the client, everything will work. So we're adding an author, right? For some reason, this doesn't like to add the author. It added the book, but it didn't add the author. But I know that it worked when I did it in my office through the form. So it's a trick of what's different between this and the form. So this has a list of authors. It should have added it for every author. It should have added the author name. Oh, I know what. The authors are saved. Let's do, I'm going to run it one more time because it's not a new author. This shouldn't be for a new author. So I'm going to add book. So I'm just going to put some numbers here. And we'll do Cat's Cradle. I'll keep doing these things that have apostrophes. All right, so let's invoke that. Do OK. See if it wrote what it's supposed to write. So there's Cat's Cradle. The author would be there. The author is Vonnegut, 16. Author book is it wrote it. And I think what we wrote last time would work perfectly well. What I was trying to do is enter a new author there. The author has to exist. Does that make sense? So what we did in class was actually correct. There was nothing wrong with it. It's just that I was having a brain fart like now where I kept thinking that this had to be a new author, and it's not. It's an existing author. If we want to add an author, first we go up here and add our author, right? And then once we've added the author, we can get it from the list of authors. This is getting it from the list of authors. So this is actually, it was working last time too. You all look confused. That's fine. I'm sure I confused you.
So to add a book, you have to have the author in there already.
Yeah, so when you add the book, the author has to already exist. And the reason that it works from the form is that I have a list of authors, and you select an author from the list. And if you want a new author, you click a button that says, you say add author, and it opens a new form. You add the author, you click save, then you go back to the book. So the author's been saved into the list already. And the same with the category. In the form, what happens is that there's well, for one, I don't let you add categories. So there's just a checklist of categories. You pull one, click on one, and you go on. So what we did last time was fine, except that I was trying to add a new author there, and you can't. Does that make sense? The code here is looking for something that matches an existing author in the list. Now, this is a little bit more complicated, I think, than actually your assignment will be, too. But I did want to show you this, and this is what I was having trouble with this lambda notation. Right? So we're saying author is a built-in class, author. We're looking for, in the list of authors, we're looking for the first or default author, where and that X is standing for the first or default author, where the author name equals the author, the list of authors in the book, right? So we're searching the list of authors in the database, looking for the first or default one that is equal to the author that's listed there. And it does it in a loop, so it'll find it, the first name that it matches, it'll then add that, and it'll look again to see if there's another name that matches. Does that make sense? It's basically going through the loop and matching. Are there names in the list that match the authors that are coming from the book, the new book that we've got up above? And that's, so what we did last time was fine. I have lots of brain farts. You might have noticed.
I was just wondering,
Sure.
is there like
can talk about correlation to maybe the assignment.
So in the assignment, one of the things that you've got, I think it's a little bit easier, but there are a couple of things.
And what, which is, you're talking about
The assignment, I think, is a little easier because of the structure. There's not really a one-to-many relationship there, or a many-to-many relationship. What you have in your assignment is you have shows, right? And the show has like the date, time. Actually, I think those are separate fields. And it has the name of the show. And it has the venue key, which you can search for with the venue name if you want. All right, so that's the show. And then you have the show detail. And the reason why you have a show detail is that any one show could have several artists, right? So down in the show detail, you have your show key, which ties this to the show. One of the things you can do is you can actually do, so if you had a show detail, and let's say you called it SD, right? That was the name of this class. You could do sd.show, and say you called your show S. So let's just say show. Like, I think this isn't a permanent marker.
Well, it green stuff, that kind of
Cái
is.
trang này.
why would they have a permanent market?
Anyway, you could say that the show equals S, and it will tie the two together, right?
Okay.
So sd.show equals S, and it will tie, because the key doesn't exist yet. All right, so when you're doing that. So yours is a little bit different, and you may not actually need the lambda notation in yours, because it's just the show and the show detail. Now, you could have multiple details per show. I'm fine if you only do one artist, but typically there could be multiple artists in a given show, right? And I think, as I said, I think yours is simpler. The assignment is actually a little simpler.
So artists would kind of be like authors.
Yeah, artists would be kind of like authors. So typically, so the main thing that you would want, and I'll show you with a form that I have in a minute, is that when you're entering a show, the artist may or may not be in the list of artists. So you'd probably want to be able to add the artist. How you do that, I have a way where in the form it says new artist, and it pops up a little internal form where you can do a new artist. But you could just say, you know, enter the artist, choose the artist or enter a new artist, and then do add the show. I mean, you could set it up differently so that it's a little bit simpler. Just force them to make sure that they either choose or enter the artist before they get to the show detail. Does that make sense? There are lots of ways to do it, and this is probably a little bit more complicated, but I did want to show this because this is how it handles many-to-many relationships where you have a plural of multiple values that could be there, like authors and categories. And if you ever do this out in the world, which I don't know if you will, you may encounter this lambda notation. And as I said, it's not Microsoft only. You'll see this kind of lambda notation in Java. And you said it was PHP now?
I don't know if that was me that said it.
Somebody said it.
And the notation is now JavaScript.
Oh, JavaScript. Maybe it was you probably that said it. So JavaScript, I mean, this lambda notation is becoming fairly common in a lot of languages. It's also in C++, if you ever do C++. I've never seen it in JavaScript. I'll have to look at
But
that.
it's in the next version. It's
Yeah,
coming
oh,
out,
the next version.
new ECMAScript version. Yes, 2016 or whatever it is.
The idea of it is basically that it's kind of I'm trying to think, that they talk about it as being like an inline function. You know, basically it's like a function pointer in C++, but how to explain that in terms, I need a better.
Is lambda notation kind of like an agent of functional programming?
Yes.
Yes, it's like you're passing a function to a function.
Okay.
Right, that's what a function pointer does, is basically you create a function that's a pointer to a function.
You could bring up that lambda notation is derived from lambda calculus with the creation of an anonymous function.
Right.
And that the reason that
Anonymous function is probably a better name for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And the notation is partially derived from a typesetting error. Seriously. Originally, the person creating lambda calculus, whose name escapes me at the moment, wanted to use a caret symbol, and the typesetter displayed it wrong, so they got a lambda character instead as the closest thing in the Greek alphabet.
Oh yeah, because you can do. There are L's, there are lambdas, and then there are these point, equal and it's basically like a arrow, double shafted arrow or whatever. The thing is, you probably, I mean, they can be quite useful. Anonymous functions is actually how they usually explain it. I always think of it as pointers in C++, but I haven't taught C++ in years.
Yeah, that's more how you would implement it in C++ than what it actually
Than
is.
what it actually is, right? So actually, I should have you explain it. You did better than I did. Any other questions on that? So the other things in this is that we added a review. And the thing about a review, and the reason why those other things are there, is that in a review, kind of like your show, you might have to add an artist. Here I had to add a book and an author. Right? You should, in your show, it's the venue that's logged in. So the venue you shouldn't have to add a new venue. All you really need to add is a artist and a show. This is a review, and in the review, in order for it to work, needs to have a book, and again, it has that sort of book, that lambda notation to find the book title in the list. So before you do this, the book has to be entered, right? So basically you have to enter the author, you have to enter the book, and then you can do the review. I'm not sure why I have get book key. I think I needed it for something, but I think when I actually built the form, I didn't use that. This is the reviewer login. This is from last time, and the reviewer registration, which uses a stored procedure, just like what we did last time. Is that any clearer at all, or is that even muddier? So this runs. Now the other one, I don't think we need to go over. So the service, I do want to start it. This one is just a search. It's the one, I'm on the wrong page. So this is just all the selects where you select the author, you select the book, so you get authors, get books, get reviewers by category, get reviews by author. We did those. That's all before. I just want it to be running. And then I'm going to run the client. So I'm going here. This is the client. That isn't the client. Is it? Yeah, I think it is.
The registration point?
Yeah, this is the registration client. Now, there's a couple of things with this. This is the forms, but it actually won't run. Does anybody know why? It's partially because of the artifact of the way we're doing it. So when we're running these, notice I have a host 1184. If I go in here and I look at the web config and I look for the endpoints, notice that my host doesn't match that number. So this is kind of like not having a static IP. When you run the service on a new machine and it comes up with a different port. So what we have to do, the easiest way to do it is to just kill the services and run over. I mean, just relink. Because this number, I did it just the other day, for that service, that port number is in about 15 different places. And it's all in the XML. So changing it, you have to go manually search through things. So what I'm going to do is in the Solution Explorer, I'm going to go to the App References folder, and I am going to delete it, which is scary, I know.
Oh, it's the whole.
I deleted the whole app reference folder. Notice, I mean, actually, it doesn't clean up your web config file. It's all there still. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to go, so first we'll do the, which one is this? This is the login one. So I'm going to right click on the address, copy the address. I'm going to right click over here, add service reference. So I'm just going to re-add the service references. And this one was the login. So I'm going to say BR login register service. I wanted to have a little bit different name than the other one. And the reason why I don't want to name it exactly the same as I named it before is because the web config isn't cleaned up. The old names are still there. So first I'm going to do go. Make sure it's right. You know, it's got all the methods. And then I'm going to do OK and add it back in. I'm going to do the same. Yeah, so I added, I'm going to do the same with the other service. I'm going to get the address, and I'm going to add that service. And so we're going to add a service reference. Going to paste in that address, go, make sure that it's right. I am going to.
Where's the other place?
So is it two references in there now?
Yes, there will be two references because I have two services running.
Select service and login service.
I'm running the service, the registration service client, and the select service client.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're adding two different references.
I was getting an error, debugging not enabled. Create a new web config file. When I try to start the server.
Debugging
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
enabled.
the web config has.
Yeah, you might. There is a thing where you can enable debugging in the service in the web config.
Registration login service.
Yeah, so I'm running the registration login service and the select book review select service. And this is the select service, so I'll just do BR select service. Now, there's a couple of other things we have to do having done that. Are you guys okay with that? Yeah.
Are you adding a web form in there now?
No, the web form's already there.
Or what is there in the client?
Yes, in the client, it's already there.
Yes. Since my server was not working because the web config has an error.
What?
My web config has error there. That's why my reference, my service doesn't work.
I thought this would be easier, but I may have been wrong.
I don't know. We'll fix later.
So I need to change the name. BR login register. So I have to change the names of the services in here, which is easier than changing the port, believe it or not. There's only 2 pages, right? So there's, well, there's a new review. And that I need to change that to BR select service. And then this one is the BR login register service.
So there's 3 forms in there, right?
Yeah, I think there are. The names here have to match the names of the new names of the service.
The name down there, the form has to match the reference.
Yeah, so the name here of the service has to match what you named them over here.
Oh,
And because we renamed them, that means I have to go through and rename them in the forms as well, which is a pain. And I'll go through where at the top of in every form, register, I'll log in. VR, login, registrator. Okay. And then once you've changed everything, everything will work. So what I did, and again, this is being recorded, and this is only if you want to use this. So I changed, we deleted all of our app references. And then I added them back in. But I gave them a different name, which meant I had to change the names of the services wherever they occur.
Since you have 2 references over there, but you only have one.
Yeah, but this one only needs one of them.
One of them, just one.
This is just where we register the reviewer.
Okay.
So, and also in the login. So in the login page, I only have one reference, and that's to the same one. But in the book review, the new review, in the CS, then I have reference to both services.
Oh, I see.
A web page can have references to dozens of services. If you're making kind of like a portal or something, you know, where you're getting weather and you're getting news and you're getting, you know, all of those are different services that you can register with your page, and you can literally have a whole long line of, you know, services that you're getting data from. And typically these days, I mean, a lot of, again, rather than hook directly to the database, you're using services that are out there. They could be offered by lots of different companies. Some are free, some cost you money. Okay.
I'm getting an error whenever I try to open the service.
When you try to add the service,
From the service.
what is it say? Yeah, that should be fine, yeah. And then let's see. Double click it. Recent error. Use section. You know, just delete that. Maybe. Just
That line.
Yeah. Yeah, comment that line. That would be safe. And then see if that works or if it causes new errors. All right, so I'm going to run this as a web app, and we'll walk through it, and I'll show you a little bit of what ultimately yours should look like. And then we will, I just wanted this to be an example. As I said, yours is actually going to be simpler. And what we did in class, as I said, was correct. I just wasn't thinking straight. Yeah.
I just got help with you. You can finish up stuff you want. There's other stuff.
Well, it shouldn't take too long. I just wanted to show you what I have. So I'm going to start on the login. So we've done this. Oh, I have build errors. What is my build error? Oh, I haven't changed all of my services yet.
Yeah. It's like, you do the, it doesn't show color.
That's it, that's.
Oh, you see.
All right, I think it's ready now to run. All right, so this brings up basically the login. You guys have done that. I'm going to go to register. Let's make a new reviewer. I need the name of a reviewer. I can't do SP Conger. I'm pretty sure I'm in the database. Am I? Maybe I can do SP Conger. Let's do a quick. Oh, the query isn't in this one. All right, I'll just do somebody else just to be sure. A username. So our Logan at Gmail.
So this app is going to be 3-in-1, right?
Well, so this one has everything, and yours would too if you add it just together. So I'm just going to do a password will be Logan Pass. I think I did a cap. So I'm just going to submit that. Okay, so I'm going to log in. So it was R Logan, right? Or was it Logan R? I think it was Logan R. And then the password was Logan Pass. So I should be able to register. Oh, I didn't want to register. Ha! I want to log in. So Logan R. Logan Pass. Log in. Is it going?
So you're going to upload on your GitHub for the new one, not the second one.
I got an error. What is the problem with the? Why would I have an error in books for login? Oh, I know why it failed here. Anybody know why? We did this with one. We need to do it again. This is the service, the select service. We need to go into the web config. And we need to change it from, so we need to go down to the, need to find the connection string. And we need to change it from localhost to SQL Express. All right, so Solution Explorer, go to the service file. It says it's still running. All right. I know why the book thing failed. Let's go to the login again. Because once I click login here, it redirects to the next page, which loads the list of the books. So that's why it failed on the books. So I log in. And I'm going to show you a little bit. Actually, I probably have to start over. So I want the client. Okay. And I want to run Logan R, Logan Pass, login, and it goes here to this page, which is not a very attractive page, but it has a list of all the books, which is why it failed the first time, because I haven't changed that. So one of the things I can do here is I can do new book. So let's go down and do a new book. And what would I want to do as the book title for this? Anybody have a book?
Go for data basic. Okay.
What? Yeah, I could. So what is that? Hands-on database?
Yeah, hands-on database.
And I have no idea what that is either. All right, so the author, I'm not in there as an author, so I will do a new author. And I'm going to put that under technology. So I need to add the author. And then I need to save that. And it gives no feedback, which is a problem with my form design. And then I'm going to do an expensive database book. Do a title. I don't know. What do I want to rate my own book? Covers basic database design. And you could write, you know, as much of a review as you want. And then I'm going to save the review. Okay, and it says the review has been saved. So what it went through is it did picked up a you know, the book. Actually, if I look at that now, I think hands-on database is in the list now, right? And the authors are, I don't have to do that for an existing one because they're already associated. You can do your rating, and again, you could clean this up. You could make this form pretty, which I did not. It's a really ugly form. But it's kind of nice in that, so I have like a new book here, and it pops that open, and I can add the new book. If I need to do a new author, it also pops up in that form. It's really crucial that you do the add and the save here, and there's no feedback telling you that. And that it should also, when you click the add, it should say, you know, you've saved the author or whatever. And so there's lots of things that should be fixed there. But it's working. So if I go to, I'll show you just a tiny bit about this. First, I want to make sure that it actually did work. So I'm going to go to this one, which has the SQL query. So I'm going to select star from book. And down at the bottom, there's hands-on database, so it added the book. Going to select from author. And at the bottom, there's me, and the thing is 17. And from author book, if I run that, notice it has associated the book with the author. Although I have two book keys here. Interesting. I'm not sure if that's working entirely properly. Then I'm going to select star from review. And first let's do a reviewer, because we added a new reviewer. So I will do that. And the reviewer, Logan, Roger Logan, is there. And the number is 8. So if I do a select star from review, there should be a review with the 8. I don't know why I keep having trouble. Notice the reviewer key is 8, so that's Roger Logan. The database book, and it has the review there. And then the only other places, I think, as we logged in, select star from login history. What do I have? Check-in log. And it should have that. It actually has all the times we logged in. Okay, today. So everything is sort of working there. Let's go back to the client. One of the things I want to show is that when you, because I was going to do this, the client is actually not the assignment you're working on right now, but it's the next one. When I do the login, notice that I save the reviewer key right to a session variable. That means that's why I didn't have to enter the reviewer. That's why it knew who it was. The reviewer key is saved to the session. We did that before when we did the login, but we never used it, right? So when I go to the new review, way up at the top after the links, there's if session reviewer key not equal null. So if the reviewer key is as long as it's there, we're going to run all of these things. But if the reviewer key is not there, if they haven't logged in, then we're just going to send them back to the login page, right? So if they haven't logged in, they get sent back to the login page. Does that make sense? The panel visible false, and that's how the forms pop up, you know, when you want new author, etc. Did I show you how to add? I think I did. So you can do, like this says author drop-down list, items, add new author. This ties it to the data source, so it's reading from the authors. This adds that at the bottom of the list. So it adds new author at the bottom of the list. And I did the same with a new book, right? So I added it at the bottom of the list. And then I had if, you know, if book title drop-down list selected item text equals new book, then make the panel visible true to bring the form back. You could do all this with jQuery. You guys know jQuery and how to hide in. Well, then you can do it this way then. But in jQuery has tools for hiding and showing different parts of your forms and things. Look at this. Well, I think probably the better part of Valor is just to let you work on it and then help you with as you come up against problems. I'm kind of encouraged that last time I didn't do it all wrong. I just sort of, I got flustered because I misread my own code.
So are you gonna upload to your blog or?
Well, this is already on GitHub. It's all there.
But you want to change.
I didn't change anything.
It means you
The only things that I changed are the services.
did a service.
Right, and that's only because whenever you run it on a new machine, the port numbers are different.
I download as you download, I open as you open, but mine doesn't work. So when I go home, probably more error than here.
So the parts that, so we extracted it all,
Yeah.
right, and then we opened it up and ran all of them. All right, so there's two big things, and I'll go over these. Maybe I'll put this on the blog. There's also, it's all been videoed, okay, hopefully. So the main thing with the services is you have to go into, I'm just going to kill it, the web config. Find the section that says connection string and go down and change localhost to SQL Express. You have to do that with both services. That's just because, as I said, at home, I did it in the full version of SQL Server. And I think in the future, that won't help you now. When I upload it to GitHub, I may go and make that change before I upload it. Just so you know, don't have to do that. So that's the first change you have to make. The other change in the client is I deleted the whole app web reference folder and just made new references. But when I did that, that meant every time I referred to those references in the code had to be changed. That is actually easier than going through. So see all these files? They're full of references to the port number. Let's go into the WXSD. Actually, I just want to see the XML for this. Let me see the XML.
Can you repeat again, how did you run the book with register client? Because I don't see CPAN C# file over there.
What?
You say you might not see the file, C# file.
Oh, well, they're there. Let's just go back to Solution Explorer.
Yeah.
They're usually there. I mean, if you have the web pages.
Just run the web page.
In the web page, every ASPX page also has a CX page.
Yeah.
A C# page.
So we don't have to go to C# file with edit.
You don't have to add anything.
Because
to mine.
You get reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you have to do is change the reference.
Okay, got it. Just run the web page.
Anyway, there's a port thing here. And there's lots of port references in here. I went through and they're changing the port number everywhere is a real pain. It's harder, it's easier to do what we did and just delete the service and change the references. Yeah.
Well, I still can't get those.
All right, I'll come look. So what I'm going to do real quickly is I'll just stop the recording.
Yeah.